Hi everyone, in today's lesson we're going to be talking about alternative energy and we're going to talk about what other types of energy do we use in North Carolina. So this is to contrast with traditional energy, which we should have learned about in our last lesson on Edpuzzle, where traditional forms of energy would be examples of coal, oil, natural gas, uh, nuclear energy from nuclear fission. All of those were forms of traditional energy, but we're going to talk about alternative energy today. So to start off, I just wanted to talk about this place called the North Carolina Solar House. There's this house on NC State's campus in Raleigh, and this house is almost entirely off solar energy. So they have these panels on the roofs, they collect the sun, and this powers the electricity in the house, which is super cool to have a house that's almost entirely solar energy. So we're going to start by talking about the first form of alternative energy, which is solar energy. So solar energy is when you utilize solar panels to convert sunlight into electricity. So the pros of this, it's free, it needs no fuel, it produces no waste or pollution, and it's safe. But the downside is that the cons are that panels are really expensive. You need a mainly sunny climate because you need that sunlight, and energy has to be stored. So although solar panels are great for the environment, if you can't afford those solar panels, solar energy isn't quite feasible for you. But it is very great for the environment. So our next form of alternative energy we'll talk about is wind energy. Wind energy is when you use turbines to convert wind power into electrical or mechanical energy. So pros of this is that it's free, it needs no fuel, it produces no waste or pollution, but it doesn't work without wind. So these huge windmills, the wind turbines, if it's not windy, they don't turn, they just kind of stay there. And they can be really noisy, and birds actually fly into these very often, so it can kill birds. So then we're going to go on to tidal energy. So tidal energy is energy that comes from tides, usually like big waves in water. So their water-powered generators will transform this tidal energy into electrical or mechanical energy. Pros of this is that it's free, it needs no fuel, produces no waste, and it can create a large amount of energy. However, the waves need to be strong, they need to be consistent, and it can be super noisy, and the equipment must withstand rough weather. So for example, if a huge hurricane comes in and destroys the water-powered generators, then tidal energy kind of becomes a waste in that case. So that can be super costly too to repair these water-powered generators. What is geothermal energy? So geothermal energy is when steam is collected and used to drive a turbine or generator. So geothermal meaning like this would be coming from hot springs in the earth. You really would have to drill down to get that thermal energy that comes from the earth. So the upsides are that it needs little or no fuel. It has really no impact on the environment, but downsides are that if you drill incorrectly or if you get this geothermal energy from the ground incorrectly, dangerous gases can come up. And we can't build power plants everywhere. We just don't have enough space available. And then hydroelectric energy. Hydroelectric energy is the kinetic energy of falling water, and then it is converted into electrical energy. So kinetic energy is energy of moving objects. So that falling water is creating energy for us. So the pros of this is that it's super reliable. Water can be stored in dams for future use, which is really great, but it can be expensive to build dams. Dams can take a really long time to build as well, and it can cause upstream flooding. And then biofuels. So biofuels are fuels that come from living or dead biological organisms. The pros are that they produce no waste materials and the fuel tends to be pretty cheap. However, when they burn, they create greenhouse gases, which is obviously not that great for us because that obviously harms our atmosphere. It increases our chances of global warming. And so biofuels can be a little iffy in that sense. And that is it for all the forms of alternative energy we're going to talk about today. Please make sure you guys work on your independent practice and then your exit ticket. If you have any questions, feel free to get in touch with me during office hours or during tutoring. If you're having trouble with Edpuzzle, please also let me know. Get in touch with me that way as well. Have a nice day, everyone. Bye.